Every once in a while, a technology comes along that just changes everything. We're talking about things economists call general purpose technologies. I mean, think about the printing press or the steam engine or electricity. Well, right now, we are living through the rise of the next one, artificial intelligence. All right, let's really dig into this quote because this one idea, it's the key to everything we're talking about today. See, it's not the invention itself that shakes up the world. Nope. What really changes things is how that invention spreads, how it diffuses, how it gets into the hands of millions of people and becomes a part of our everyday lives. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at this new revolution. Then we'll talk about why it's spreading so unevenly across the globe. We'll also break down the foundational pillars of AI. And finally, we'll touch on what it's going to take to build a real AI future. All right, let's kick things off with just how massive this revolution is. And I mean, there's really no other way to put it. This is, without a doubt, the fastest spreading technology in all of human history. Get this, 1.2 billion. That's how many people have used AI tools in less than 3 years. I mean, think about that for a second. That adoption rate blows past the internet, the PC, even the smartphone. The speed is, well, it's something we've just never seen before. But, and this is a huge but, if you look just beneath that incredible headline number, a totally different story starts to emerge. A much more complicated one. Because the truth is, the benefits of this revolution, they're not spreading evenly. Not at all. It's really becoming a story of two different worlds. And this chart right here just lays it all out. Look at the global north. We're talking North America, Western Europe. Adoption is at 23% for the working age population. Now look at the global south, a huge part of Asia, Africa, and Latin America. It's down at just 13%. I mean, that is a massive gap. It means people in wealthier countries are jumping on this tech at nearly twice the rate. So, why should you care about this gap? Why does it matter so much? Well, here's the thing. History teaches us over and over again, a country's future isn't decided by who invents the next big thing. It's decided by who's best at adopting it, at taking technology from wherever and making it their own. And we've seen this play out before. I mean, take a look at this tale of two economies. Go back to 1960, South Korea and the Philippines. They had pretty similar economies, starting from roughly the same place. But South Korea made this huge bet on adopting new tech, like semiconductors. And what happened? Their economy just exploded. The Philippines, on the other hand, kind of stuck with what they knew, primary commodities, and their growth was, well, just average. That is the power of adoption right there. Okay, so if we all agree that adoption is that important, then the big question becomes, what's holding half the world back? What are the real fundamental barriers that are keeping AI out of reach for so many people? Well, it turns out AI doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's kind of like it stands on the shoulders of other technologies. You need these 5 essential building blocks, like steps on a ladder. You've got to have electricity. Then you need data centers, then the internet, then you need the actual skills to use the tools. And maybe the most overlooked one, you need an AI that actually speaks your language. And this is where the scale of the problem really hits you. When you add all that up, when you look at who actually has access to all 5 of those things, you get this number, around 4 billion people. We're talking about nearly half the entire planet, just completely locked out of the AI economy. So the key thing to get here is that it's not just one single problem. For billions of people, it's a whole bunch of missing pieces. It could be that the electricity isn't reliable, or the internet is too expensive, or maybe they just haven't had the chance to build up basic digital skills. Or, like we said, they're trying to use tools that literally don't speak their language. Let's zoom in on just one of those pillars for a second, infrastructure. I mean, this chart says it all. A whopping 86% of all the world's data center capacity, that's the actual physical hardware that makes large-scale AI run, is in just 2 countries, the US and China. The rest of the world is sharing the other 14%. Talk about concentrated. But there's another barrier, one that's a lot less visible, but just as big. I mean, just think about it. What if the most powerful technology on Earth simply doesn't speak your language? This data is just wild. So only about 5% of the world speaks English as a native language, right? Yet it makes up roughly half of the open web. That's what these AI models are being trained on. And look at this comparison, German and Swahili.
Both have about 200 million speakers. But there's over 500 times more German content online than Swahili. What that means is these AIs are learning from a library of human knowledge that is incredibly skewed.
And the result of that? Well, it's direct, and you can actually measure it. In countries where these low-resource languages are spoken, AI adoption is 20% lower. And that's even when you account for things like GDP and internet access. So in a place like Malawi, where not many people are fluent in English, AI is basically out of reach. Why? Because it just doesn't speak Chichewa. Okay, so with all these challenges on the table, how in the world do we build an AI future that's more fair for everyone? The answer, it turns out, is realizing that this is about way more than just the inventors. You see, for any big technology to really take off, you need two groups of people working together. First, you have the builders. These are your frontier researchers, your infrastructure folks, the ones creating the core tech. But, and this is so important, you also need the users. These are the teachers, the farmers, the doctors, the people on the ground who take that technology and figure out how to solve real problems with it. Real progress, it only happens when both of those groups are in the game. So let's just quickly wrap up what we've covered. First, AI is the fastest adopted technology we've ever seen, with over 1.2 billion users already. But at the same time, we're seeing this massive divide emerge between the global north and south. Why? Because nearly 4 billion people are missing those basic building blocks, like electricity and skills. The core infrastructure. Remember, 86% of data centers is insanely concentrated. And on top of all that, language is now this new critical barrier to entry. And all of this really leaves us with one huge question, doesn't it? We know AI is spreading faster than anything in history. But is that incredible speed going to lift everyone up? Or is it just going to accelerate so fast that it leaves half the world even further behind, making those global divides even deeper? The answer really is going to depend on the choices we make about how we build and how we share this future.